Yo, welcome to another episode of Flipping Miami. Thank you guys for listening. And today on the show, I have a very, very special guest, Eduardo Mualim. Eduardo, man, he's an interesting dude. You guys will see on this show, we're going to talk about, I'm sure, so many things that you guys won't even expect is going on. Eduardo's he's from Miami. I met him in events here. I can't remember exactly where I met you, actually, Eduardo, but I think, and you were mentioning now right before the show that your daughter's 4 and your son is 2. I think I met you when your wife was pregnant with your daughter, if I'm not mistaken. Well, anyways, yeah, it's been a while. But anyways, I met Eduardo. He's a wholesaler. He does rehabs. I don't know if you have rentals or not, but I'm sure he's probably involved in rentals and stuff. Also, Eduardo has a call center in Colombia that I'll have him talk about. We actually use them. He's just like a all tradesman, and he does a lot of his business virtual. He has a team in South Florida, and man, they absolutely crush it. We're just talking about some of the deals that they're working on. But without further ado, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Ro, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys and share pretty much everything that I've done in my entrepreneurial life and doing real estate, right? That's the reason why we met. And I'm very glad that we're doing all this just to share knowledge and just make sure that everybody that is hearing this, I mean, it's definitely helpful at some point.
Yeah, hell yeah. And it's funny, yesterday I was talking to a guy that he owns a bunch of restaurants down here, and I was telling him about the podcast because he's not in real estate at all. And he's like, but you don't charge for it? Like, it's free? I'm like, yeah, it's free, you know? Some people are like, some like older people can't wrap their heads around what a podcast is or why we would do this for free. But I appreciate you for coming on, man. Eduardo, you'll see that number one, he's a super chill dude. I don't think you ever can't imagine you like raising your voice or like being angry or anything. He's so mellow. Yeah.
There's no need, but that's that's a good thing that you just brought up. I mean, when I first started real estate, I mean, just getting the help and just and getting people. I mean, just surrounding yourself with people in the real estate business that you want to learn and all that stuff. It's kind of difficult, and having all this podcast and having you, I mean, sharing all this knowledge, I think is definitely beneficial for a lot of people that are starting that. People want to learn about real estate because I know there's most of the people out there wouldn't share. I mean, the knowledge and the tips and the hacks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here again. And I always tell everyone, I mean, if I'm able to make a difference in any way, shape or form, to anyone, not only in real estate, but just in their lives, I mean, I'm very appreciative of that, and I'm very happy of it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Eduardo, and I appreciate that. A lot of the concepts that we're going to talk about here today, you can carry this in almost any business, right? A lot of it's just principles, management, sales, marketing, outsourcing, things like that, which you could take in any kind of business. So I love that. And Eduardo he's a wizard, believe it or not, when it comes to a lot of this stuff and outsourcing in different places for lower costs. And we'll get into that later on. I want to get into what business looks like, how you're getting deals, things like that. But for now, man, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Dude, like, let's say I would have met Eduardo back in high school. Who was Eduardo in high school, man? Were you like a shy kid? Were you popular? I mean,
it's
who were you?
A combination of pretty much a little bit of everything. I mean, I wasn't the most popular, but I was very social. When it came to like having friends and all that stuff.
Okay.
I always been very like entrepreneurial minded person where, money or just making money, when I was in a younger age really was something that I wanted to achieve. I mean, make a lot of money, success. I was always involved somehow in a business. I mean, and I could tell you the first kind of business I did, when I was maybe 16, 15,
what was that?
It was not like, it was very like, my first business, it was more like importing stuff from Colombia, like bracelets, whatever.
Because you are Colombian.
I'm Colombian, right? Yeah.
So, okay. Because I don't want people to listen and be like, what? This guy's importing stuff from Colombia?
They think the right thing. Yeah, I was born and raised, in Colombia. Barranquilla, Colombia, actually. And I came here to the United States 20 years ago in 2000. And the reason why I came was to pretty much study, go to school. I graduated from high school in Colombia, from an American school down there. That's the reason why I speak English and I'm fluent. I mean, Spanish and English. And I came here to study at FIU, Florida International University. I graduated from international business and marketing. And right after that, I got my MBA at Nova University with, I mean,
interesting. I didn't know
in entrepreneurship.
Very cool.
So yeah, I mean, even I was very like entrepreneurial. I mean, my parents and I knew that. I mean, education is definitely essential, and I wanted to pretty much just have that kind of background in order to just make sure that my kids, at some point, I mean, I was able to let them know that.
I love that.
You have to go that route. I mean,
yeah, which is so smart. I mean, you know, I'm sure you hear now how school system is dead, education system sucks, college, et cetera, and you know, I'm not here like I'm not some kind of conspiracist, or I'm not like here to. This podcast is not to debate school versus no school. However, I'm more here to talk about practical tips for you and what you could take away from someone like Eduardo, who went to school, went to college in our backyard here in FIU, and still had his own business. So just because you go to school doesn't mean you have to get a job. Just because you don't go to school doesn't mean you have to start a business. You know, there's different routes you could take. And Eduardo, you pretty much came from Colombia, came here, did that, and little by little started your own business. Eduardo, I mean, I heard you say that when you were 15, 16, you're like, all right, I'm already starting a little hustle, importing things from Colombia. Dude, what was like the moment that you were thinking like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to work on my own, or I want to start a business? Was it like one moment? Was it over time? You know, like what made you want to like pursue that? You understand?
Yeah, I mean, I always knew that. I just to give you a bit of background, my dad, I mean, has always been an entrepreneur. I mean, in Colombia, I mean, he had a trading business. I mean, they import, export, I mean, auto parts from, I mean, China, everywhere. And they sold it. They have like a distributorship in Colombia, right? And he was very successful at it. So that kind of mindset, I mean, pretty much, I mean, that's what I wanted. And I was raised that way, at least. And so I think it all starts, I mean, in reality, to see yourself as what exactly do you want to be in life, and pretty much all the tools that you have at the moment to either be successful or not, because it has to do a lot with it. So, I mean, the mindset side, I mean, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but when I first started, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the tools to be successful at it. So, I mean, I went to school, I graduated. I mean, I knew that pretty much it was just something that will be definitely helpful, at least, learn stuff. But I never had the resources, at least, to pretty much just venture out and just create a business, because it definitely, I mean, it's something that you definitely need.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, at the beginning, it's very, very hard. So I graduated. I mean, for me, it's a personal thing. It was just, you know what, I need to graduate first and pretty much just see how it works. And I always also wanted to be exposed in the corporate life, at least just to understand how it worked as well.
Interesting.
So I did work for Toyota, Toyota Latin America.
Oh, really?
About 3 years, more or less.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that. You were doing like marketing over there or something, right?
Yeah, I was a sales and marketing rep for Latin America, and I had like a territory, Latin America territory, and I had to travel a lot every other week and so forth. So it was fun. I mean, I learned a lot. So, and I think that definitely helped me to create some kind of a base, and my mindset definitely changed completely. Yeah. Because at that point you're exposed to business owners in a very high level. So for me, that was my second university, in a sense, where I did learn a lot about marketing techniques. I mean, sales, not only in English, but in Spanish. The way they do business in Latin America is different from the United States. But so it gives you definitely a perspective where, I mean, most likely it's going to be very difficult to learn as a solopreneur, or if you want to just start a business, right? So I was exposed to all that. I mean, I did learn. I had a business right after that. I did trading on auto parts also, kind of similar.
Really?
To what I did.
Okay.
Pretty much trading from China, Taiwan, I mean, all this stuff, to Latin America. I did great. But I always wanted to be involved in real estate. And it all started when I was like 21. I got my real estate license as a realtor. Okay. So even though I had my license, I was doing something different. But I always wanted to invest in real estate. And it comes, I think, because of my dad. He owns also real estate in Colombia and in here. And pretty much I saw that. I mean, he always collected rent. And that's something that always caught my attention. I'm like, all right, so you're able to live off, rent. If you buy a few properties here and there, and you have a very normal, not like spending normal life, you're able to collect rent and pretty much live off of that, and you have to work pretty much. So that got me. So real estate was always in my back mind, and I really started doing real estate in 08. And the investing side especially. But I had my license a lot of years before that.
Oh, so you've been in it for quite some time, yeah.
I think I got my license, if I'm not mistaken, in 2006.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Right in the boom.
No, 2002, actually. I got my
Damn, so we won't mention here the age or anything. No, bro, but that's awesome. No, something I picked up from you were mentioning, you mentioned the word learn maybe like 4 or 5 times, which I love, because if you're listening to this, notice that, Eduardo's path wasn't like made for him, right? Like your dad didn't like give you a bunch of money, or, you weren't born in like a super wealthy real estate family or anything like that. Like you're just a normal kid, man. You came here from Colombia, and I heard you say, oh, I learned from school. Then I learned when I was working in marketing sales in Toyota. Then I learned about this and I learned about that. That like, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but, learning from these experiences is just a shortcut, man. If you just change your mind that every little experience you have could be a learning experience to make you better. I don't know, how much faster do you think somebody can go when they're thinking everything is about learning and learning and learning and getting better?
I'm 100% agreement with what you just said. Unfortunately, or fortunately for others, there's a lot of people out there that they think that the road or success comes very quick, and they want to make a lot of money in a few months or in a year or in 2 years. Right. And that's cool. I know people that they've been able to do it, and that's great. But at least for my situation, it was kind of different. I think every other years, or there's been like different periods of my life where I'm like, all right, I'm seeing that I'm achieving success, but it's been more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So it's taken a while, for it to happen. Yeah. And it's not only the knowledge, the learning of whatever you're going to do, but just having the right tools also. And one of them is having the money to do so in order to be successful. In real estate, maybe you don't need money to make a deal here and there, but if you really want to build a business, you definitely need money. And that's what most people don't understand, because you see a lot of people out there in Facebook, Instagram, pretty much just showing all the checks here and there. You could get lucky. I'm not saying you can't get lucky, but the reality is that there's a difference between, closing a deal and just creating a business, and being consistent on it and making sure that you're profitable by the end of the year, and that you're always, putting money in marketing, getting a return on your money. All the stuff that maybe a lot of people don't take into account because they don't think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. They think that by just doing a deal here and there, they're the best thing out there.
Yeah, that's an awesome statement, man, and I love it, because information age where back then the person with the gold had the power. Now the person with the knowledge has the power. And a lot of time that can be perceived from people who are spreading knowledge and quick experts in the sense of, hey, buy this course for 4 weeks and make $1 million or $10 million. Like, that is not the knowledge. That is the knowledge is gold that they're talking about, right? And also, there was something that you had mentioned. You're like, it took me a while to make money. And some people think that you can make it quickly, and some have made it quickly and some have not. And I read a quote by Buffett. I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger that said, there is no great tragedy in someone else making money faster than you. Meaning, if you see somebody that makes money faster than you, or you're 30 and this kid's 25 making more, there's no tragedy in that, okay? There's many different things in life, right? It's not all about money. There's health, there's wealth, there's different things. And, Eduardo, if you're listening to this, like, notice how Eduardo was saying, like, dude, it took me a while, right? Like, it was you probably started making money in your first year, second year, I don't know, but it took a while to really get a business that runs, to really make sure that you're making money every month or consistently, and then you go up and then you go down. But the point I want you guys to understand is that it takes a little while, even in real estate, and it really does take a little bit of money. And I want to get into some of like what your business looks like now, so people can really understand like what's going on. So tell us, man, let's fast forward. So you went to college, you did all this stuff, you worked for the auto parts. When was the time? I know you got your real estate license. When was the time that you started like wholesaling? Like, how did that happen? And then what does your business look like today?
Cool. So 08, I mean, I had my license since 2002, I think it was. It is. I'm a realtor, tried doing rentals here and there. I mean, I did a few sales. I'm like, you know what? I don't like the real estate retail side of real estate. I mean, I'm just going to do what I feel I'm very passionate about is investing. So in 08, I mean, I saw the 07, it was 08 when, I mean, the market was very, very like in bad conditions and foreclosures were out. I was just getting in investing because, I mean, this is the first time that I was going to pretty much purchase either a house to invest and so forth. And I saw the opportunity. I'm like, you know what, I think, and I started reading on it, about real estate investing, about what the market could undertake, could undergo. And pretty much I'm like, all right, I think it's a great opportunity to pretty much just buy depreciating assets at this point. I mean, in real estate. But I don't have money. I mean, how can I do that? So I had, some kind of money. I mean, just a small savings. And I came across one guy that one day told me, hey, you know what? I mean, let's just buy a property together. Let's rehab it. You leverage with hard money and let's resell it back in the market. I'm like, all right. I mean, it sounds good.
Sounds good.
I'm just putting all my savings in a house where I'm over leveraging myself and paying interest at 12%. And I'm sharing all this with my dad, and he's like, you're crazy. I mean, you're going to pay 12%. I mean, he's used to like different interest rates back in.
Yeah.
And so whatever I did, I'm like, you know what? It's just, if I lose my money, I'll lose it. And back then, foreclosures were like inventory. Most of the inventory were pretty much foreclosures. So I started doing one. It took me almost 6 months to rehab it because I wanted to get involved in all this. And after 6 months, I sold it, and I think I made like 10. I made 10 G's, and the partner at that point making like 10 G's.
Not bad.
So I did a few. I mean, it took me like 1 or 2 years to make maybe a handful.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work. And I'm just getting paid like 10, 15 grand per deal. So I'm like, this is really, and I'm doing this full time and involved in the rehab. So I'm like, oh shit, this is a lot of work. So, and my caveat at that point was like, all right, I'm able to go get a job, right? Because I have a master's. That's always been in back of my mind, and that's the reason why I did it, because I wanted to always have like a backup, right? I'm like, I'm just going to use my MBA as a backup, just if anything goes wrong. To get a good paying job,
love that,
make X amount, whatever is money for you guys, and pretty much just keep a decent life, because you have an MBA, you get whatever. Thank God that never happened, right? Because maybe I was very, my mentality at that point was very, it was Scar's way of thinking, right? Because I was maybe in, but I was not all the way in. And when you have that kind of backup, you're like always looking back and saying, you know what, I may look for a job, but at the same time, I'm kind of making money here. You're not fully in. So maybe at that point, I was not fully in. Even though I had my company, I was investing in real estate, I was doing all that, right? So the problem back then in 08 was that most appraisals, didn't came at the prices you wanted, because obviously there was a lot of sold properties, even though you rehabbed it at like lower prices, because there was a lot of inventory. So there was a lot of foreclosure at that point. So whatever, I kept my journey, and 2 years after rehabbing, I came across wholesaling. I'm like, all right, so what is
2 years after rehabbing?
2 years after rehab, more.
Damn.
2 years.
Wow.
So I started as a rehabber. That's the reality of it. And I started borrowing money from hard money lenders and kind of put in some of my money, and whatever I made at that point, pretty much, that's why my living. Yeah, I spend the money living. Right. So, but I learned a lot about, construction, roofing, flooring, tiling, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, permitting plans. Everything related to. So I learned again. Talking about learning, right? You learn about a new real estate business that maybe I was never exposed as a realtor, quote unquote. Because much of the transactions I did, it was not that much. So now suddenly I learned about wholesaling, and I learned it because somebody came at me and it's like, no, you're able to flip properties. The paper I made 15, 10,000, 20,000. Like, all right, that's very interesting. That's but who would pay, more money for something that you're able to buy a lot less? So the lack of knowing, right? So I kind of went in and dived into wholesaling real estate and kind of followed a lot of people. It was kind of difficult, like I said, to find mentors, even though I was not a very mentor, guy for, I think I paid a mentorship maybe 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
So the whole time when you first started was more on your own, just learning.
It was like winging it. Just
a golpes.
I worked it, right. Pretty much. So I'm like, all right. Because I always thought about mentors as if, maybe they want to get your money. And there's all kind of mentors out there. There's mentors, that every penny counts, and they're pretty much, mentors that you know what? It's 5 years ago, and I remember it was Sean Terry's in Arizona. Maybe it was like 5-6 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But it was like very cheap. Whatever. One of those 2-day courses. But I was exposed to it. I learned a lot. Prior to that, I met this dude, local guy, and he kind of learned. So I started doing wholesale. So it took me almost a year to do wholesale. My first wholesale deal.
Wow. A year to do your first wholesale deal?
I didn't know how to find sellers. I didn't know how to find all that.
Holy shit.
And so I started away there. No, it's 2020. It's been 10 years. 9 years.
Yeah, bro.
So whatever, I kept kind of buying stuff, rehabbing, and just doing part-time, wholesaling. And after a few years, I kind of switched my business into mainly more wholesaling because I was getting tired of rehabbing. So that was a difference. I pretty much, that was a different way of working. I was pretty much doing physical work, rehabbing, and now, it was not me doing it, but I had to manage the people. But sometimes you have to get involved, even though, because you want to save obviously maybe the project manager salary, and you want to do it all yourself here and there. But whatever, it was a great learning experience, for me. And now I'm in wholesaling, and I'm full at it, right? And I'm like, all right, so how do you do this? How do you scale it? How do you, just trying to figure out stuff. I went to this mentorship. It was great, phenomenal. I kind of learned a lot. And it took me a year to kind of figure out how it worked, at that point. And, how does my business looks like? Okay, at that point, I decided to do a virtual office.
Yeah. I want you to talk about a little bit about that. So and before we move forward, I just want to kind of, because I know you mentioned it and you said it very softly and stuff, but there was a lot of very interesting and ballsy things that you did, and what I want you listening to think about is, if you really want the money, right? If let's say you're listening to this podcast or you want to do real estate for money, I completely understand. I know that everything is not all purpose driven. I feel you should have some kind of purpose in life, but let's say you want to get into real estate investing wholesale for money. I love it. Perfectly okay. You have to have a good risk tolerance. Okay. Notice how Eduardo said, I learned from Toyota. I learned from school. I learned from my real estate license. I learned from the residential. And then he still took a risk with some of his own money and getting a private money lender. So what I'm trying to get at is, no matter how much you learn, there was still a level of risk that you had to take to start in fix and flipping. And just to flip a property is a risk in itself. And to get it with a hard money lender and things like that is a different risk. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying to prep you and show you the reality And no matter how much you learn, how many books you read, how many courses you take, at the end of the day, there's a risk you're going to have to take. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with, you might go on the other side of that risk. And, Eddie could have very well lost on that property, like it was a risk. He did well, and he made $10,000 risk return. So,
if you guys are thinking of being an entrepreneur or business owner, I mean, that right there is definitely something risky, right? I mean, what's the easy way? Just look for a job, right? Just get paid an hour or salary, and you're okay, right? You just get paid by just sharing your time, right? I'm spending 1 hour, they're paying me X amount, right? But when you decide to be a business owner, you could work 40 hours and you can't make money, or you could lose money, right? So the moment you decide to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, that's the moment you say, you know what? I mean, I'm risking not only my time, my life, my finances, my money, my everything, right? Which is great. So, but not everybody has that kind of personality.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, get a lot of, they take it for granted, but they don't really know what it takes. I mean, to be a business owner. Yeah,
no, it can get timely. There's risks and stuff, but yeah, I just wanted to briefly say that basically the fear, man. You had a little fear, and I heard you say like, yeah, if I lose my money, well then I lose my money. Like it is what it is, right? Like there's no. You just can't always win. And I love when you said that, because it was just such a simple thought. And when I started, it was the same. I'm like, all right, I'm going to spend, $2,000 on mail on my credit card. And if I don't get anything, I don't get anything, but at least I'm going to try, and I don't want to lose money, but there's that little risk you have to take. But Eddie, I mean,
I think it all starts with that fear that you always have at the beginning. I mean, I think that's pretty much everybody's obstacle.
Yeah.
I mean, to start anything, and what I mean starting, it could be a business, could be whatever, or investing, or just putting the first $2,000, like you said. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're losing something, right? I mean, and the human being by itself, I mean, they don't want to lose, they just want to get, right?
Yeah.
So mindset, it's key for, I mean, just being fearful, I mean, going at it, and I mean, making sure that you know what you're doing also, or at least just hire the mentors or whatever to make sure that at least you have some kind of guidance, which is hard.
Yeah.
A lot of people go in without guidance.
No, I love that. Here's the thing. Yeah. And I'm mentioning Charlie Munger again, because I'm actually just reading his book, The Poor Charlie's Almanac, but he gave a speech in, I think it was Stanford or something. And if you don't know who Charlie Munger is, he's like one of the wealthiest men ever. He's Warren Buffett's partner. But he said, if you want to know how to be successful, you have to learn what it takes to not be successful. And that is, I can't remember obviously the exact speech. I would advise to look it up. But one of his things is like, if you want to be a successful person, business, you want to make more money, you want to start real estate and make money, well, ask yourself the question, how do I not make money in real estate? Well, if you never take a risk and jump in, that's a really good way to never make a dollar. So I know, because a lot of things in life are common sense. Sometimes when you think of the opposite, it might bring out the common sense in you. But I digress. Eddie, dude, share with us, man. Like, he has a pretty exciting business model, guys. So I want you guys to pay attention to this. What does your business look like now, man? I know you got virtual, I know you got in staffs. Like, share with us a little bit of what that looks like.
So I own a few businesses. I mean, my main business is real estate. Like I've been exposed to it for 12 years plus in every different fields. As a realtor, I'm also a real estate broker. Right now, I mean, I have a brokerage going on, but my main business is investing, and I would say it's more towards the wholesale / rehabs. So how does it look like? Like I said before, I mean, I opened a virtual office like 7 years ago.
Yes.
And I pretty much open a physical office. I mean, sometimes some people are like, why would you do that? Right? Because I rather just, get a virtual agent from the Philippines, India, whatever, and they work remotely from home. But in my gut feeling, I started doing it that way, and I think you kind of lose a lot of control doing it that way, but whatever, it works. I mean, both work. So I got a physical office. I hired up to like 20 people at some point, doing tasks related to real estate. I mean, talk to sellers, talk to buyers. I mean, do the marketing, do the emails, do the texting, do the cold calling, all that stuff, right? So, and it worked very well. I mean, and it worked very well because obviously you're paying a lot cheaper as if you were going to hire somebody in the United States, right? I was very lucky. I wouldn't say lucky, but it took me a while to just find a few of the managers that I currently have. And they've been very, 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 very good with me, and they're very successful. They're great people, and they've been with me for 6-7 years. I mean, pretty much. And they're great. I mean, and pretty much, I mean, I do virtual conference the same way we're doing right now, in Zoom and all that. So right now I had to pretty much relocate my office, but I still have a staff of about 20 people. And a year ago, I started a similar business, which is the virtual assistant business that you referred to pretty much people in the real estate industry that needs cold calling, or not only in real estate, anything. I'm pretty much the middleman, the outsourcing for any talent that you just want to get. So I figured that right now, I mean, the office is in Colombia. So if you want a web designer, if you want a social media manager, if you want a cold caller, if you want, I mean, a lot of people, I come from Colombia and I know the standards of education down there, and the ability of people to pretty much just fine. They're very good and they're bilingual. They speak English very fluent. So pretty much that's what we have right now. So awesome. In total, there's somewhere in between 25 to 30 people, which includes, I mean, clients like yourself, and my own business as well, which is real estate primarily, which is pretty much what I use it. And here in Miami, I have an office where I do, I mean, the acquisitions. We have 4 acquisition agents. We generate leads in Colombia. We pretty much, I mean, transfer them to the Miami office for the acquisition. And the acquisition disposition is done here locally, internally in our office. So we get deals through there. I mean, and we lock them, we sell them, and we pretty much wholesale.
Love it. I love it. Guys, I mean, it's so crazy. Me and Eddie had a chat about it the other day. By the way, I do use Eddie's service. But we had a chat the other day, and because I remember the first that we had lunch in somewhere in Miami Lakes. I can't remember where, Main Street or something. Mm-hmm. And you told me, you're like, man, in Venezuela I have a bunch of cold callers. I'm like, well, why would you do it like so far away? You know, you should just do it here. He's like, bro, I said they work better, this and that. It's just different. It's a different thing. And then now, years later, I'm doing it. Like, man, you figured that out way quicker than I thought. But anyways, so just in case you guys missed that. So basically Eddie's team, what it looks like, he's got about 30 cold callers, and a big fraction of them he uses for his business. Then he's got some that he basically, his office has trained them, and you as an investor, or you as a business person, you could use them to cold call for you. You could use them to get buyers for you or do buying for you. You could use them to pretty much do anything you want. Like you mentioned, social media, web design, maybe an admin assistant. We actually have 2 of them that we use for cold calling, and it's awesome, right? There are less than what you're going to pay in America, and you get these people who are willing to work. They have a good career in cold calling over there. And it's kind of like a win-win that not a lot of people feel might be a win-win. Well, Eddie, what do you think are some of the things that people might, what do you think are some of like the things that people might think are negative when it comes to cold calling overseas or something like?
I mean, I just want to add something there because I think it's very important. I mean, when a lot of people talk about like outsourcing or a virtual agent, I mean, I've heard all. I mean, I've heard people that have had great experiences. I know a lot of people that pretty much have had bad experiences, right?
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, I mean, for me, it was more about monitoring, tracking, controlling, right? Because it's very hard. I mean, if you don't do all of those 3 things. Yeah. At some point, I mean, like I said, I started just hiring people in their houses and all that. And I never had that kind of control I needed. I mean, where if you don't have someone accountable for the agents and you're not monitoring, you're not tracking them, you're not pretty much on top of them, I mean, the results are going to be And that's what I realized. And that's the reason why my initiative to open a physical office is get people together and all that. So one of the services, I mean, when you hire a virtual agent, whoever, a web designer, whatever talent you want to outsource that we provide is that we make sure that we provide the monitoring, the tracking, of the agent. And as a business owner, I know you've managed a lot of people, Raul, and you know how hard it is. To manage people, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people want to outsource, because they feel that managing people by itself is just a job, right? And that's usually why they have managers, right? To manage others people, right?
Yeah.
So when you're like by yourself, so either if you want to grow, if you want to grow your business, either you manage people or you just concentrate on growing. It's kind of hard to do both. So that's why I decided to, you know what, I need to just create something where it runs by itself, right? Because I have managers in place, I have everybody, and I'm able to scale it in my business and for my clients, right? And that's pretty much what I've done. And I'm growing it. Every day people call me solicit me for business. And I think it's a great thing. Like I said, I'm involved in other businesses, but I think relating to what we're talking about today, real estate and the cold calling and the service is great.
Dude, I'm number one, I'm a huge fan of cold calling. I know that, and I could share some numbers and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of cold calling because it's hard. Okay. People don't like to do stuff. It's hard to track. It's, text messaging is easy. RVM, clicking a button and sending RVMs is easy. And we do it as well. So I'm not bashing it. I do it. I'm sure you do it. It's a way to get deals. But cold calling is very consistent, okay? And outsourcing cold calling is, I think, one of the secrets that it's been out forever, right? AT&T, DirecTV, Comcast. These people have been outsourcing cold calling for 30 years, okay? Since like the beginning of their business time. Just now, real estate investors, maybe in the past couple of years, are starting to figure this thing out, because you can get cheaper costs. You get people who want to work for that wage, and it's a great wage for where they're at. So although, it's like, oh, how can you pay people, $8 an hour when here it's 15? It's like, well, over there, $8 an hour is actually like a really good wage. So actually you're doing them a favor. Like, it's a good service. Anyway, I think it's one of the secrets to real estate investing success right now is outsourcing cold calling. I've tried it in-house with more than 15 people. I think you've tried it in-house at one point. I'm not sure. I know one of our friends, Bobby, has tried it in-house. Like, I know many people have tried it in-house. When I say in-house, it locally in your market, very challenging to work. It can happen, but I think outsourcing is a secret. It's a tip. It's a trick to really scale and get your stuff going. Only if, like Eddie said, you monitor, you track, and control. If you do not do those three, you can have 10 Cardones on the phone and you'll still fail.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's something that I came to realize a few years after I had it, right? Because, you think, oh, yeah, I want staff, right? I want to hire staff as chief, whatever. But even if you have 10 Cardones, like you said, on the phone, so you don't do those three things, you're just pretty much just wasting money.
Yeah, Eddie. And I appreciate you sharing that, man. So after once the show's over in the show notes, I'll put like where they can get info for that if they're looking to really grow their business with using your people. Awesome. But let me ask you this, man. I want to take it one step back and ask a question or two, and we'll wrap this up. Dude, what do you think is your biggest mistake, or maybe like your biggest lesson, your hardest lesson that's taking you so long to learn? Like, what's a big mistake when you look back and if you could talk to 18-year-old Ed and be like, damn, Eddie, look at it this way, do this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, after being in real estate, doing hundreds of deals, been exposed to a lot of like construction, rehabbing, university. I think, the biggest mistake that I've done that I would do different is to pretty much, taking the risk a lot way before 08. Meaning that at least have a different kind of mindset since, like you said, when you were 18. I would have been ahead of the game a lot faster, right?
Yeah.
I'm still young, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
if I should have started when I was 16, 17, 18 about real estate and getting my mind at that point all throughout real estate, I know I will be definitely a lot ahead of the game than where I'm at right now. I do well. I'm very good at living financially. Don't get me wrong. I have a great life. I have a family. I have two beautiful kids, a beautiful wife. but definitely, I mean, just take that leap of faith a lot sooner, right?
Yeah, man, that's so good.
And it's mentally, like I said, I mean,
mental.
It all starts the way you think.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
mental,
have to realize if you're good at it or not, because like I said, a lot of people have stuff that they, and by all means, I'm encouraging people to do entrepreneurship. I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship. But when I say passionate, when I say going that route, it also means sacrifices. It also means there's a lot of obstacles that you have to pretty much do. So it's not easy. I mean, it's not like saying, "No, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur." Okay, but I don't really have stuff. I mean, the stuff that is needed.
Yes.
Maybe at that point you have to reconsider everything, right?
Yeah, man, that's gold, man. That's cool. I love asking that question, and you answered it so well because, timing is everything. I get it that there's the right time and place for things. However, there's always a good time to get your mind right, and there's so much like thing woo that people talk about mindset sometimes. Yeah. But I think what Eddie means is like, and he broke it down and he said, I would have taken that leap of faith or that risk sooner. So all it is like, man, let's just go. Like, if I want to do real estate one day, why say one day? I want to do real estate today, tomorrow, like figure it out. If you really want to do real estate one day, take one step to do today. Maybe buy a real estate book today. It doesn't have to be do a deal or put money down or anything. Maybe buy a real estate book. Maybe buy your first real estate course. Maybe listen to 10 real estate podcasts. I don't know. If you plan, like, just do it now, right? Like, if it's in you to do it. And I think we're all guilty. I'm guilty of that. I don't take action as quick as I should sometimes. I'm sure even still today, but the goal is little by little, you take action faster and faster and faster on the things that you really, really want. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. And another thing is that just make sure that, I mean, even if whatever your circumstances are, everybody's different. I mean, everybody's personal achievements are different. Business achievements are different. Just have that in mind, have it in your mind very clearly and just vision it, right? That's something I always vision. I want this, I want that. And I pretty much measure my success that way. I mean, where I'm at right now, financially, with my family, whatever it is, I mean, and only I mean, it's completely different me than you, and don't compare yourself with no one. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own ways, goals, whatever. Make sure that you visualize it. You have it in your mind. If you're able to write it down and just take action. Because a lot of people have all this stuff in their mind and they're pretty much thinking and seeing Instagram and seeing how other people do it. But the hardest part after that is to take action. And take action consistently and making sure consistently every day. It's hard, guys. It's hard. I mean, it's especially when you first start. I mean, after a while, you get used to it, and all of a sudden you create a habit, right? Yeah. So it's not as hard as before. But I mean, for me right now, I'm working maybe 60 hours, maybe 30. I've done it. I know what it is. I'll do it. Yeah. Even if I want to work 30 hours, I mean, a week, 20 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. But at this point, my mindset, I'm able to understand how it works and where I'm able to get it at. But at the beginning, guys, it's a lot of work. Go for it. I'm encouraging everyone to just do it. Have everything written. Just visualize it and go for it. Go for it.
Yes, love it. Action, man. Action. That's such a powerful word, bro. That's it, man. Get it out of your mind and put it onto paper. Put it onto doing. Put it on your calendar. I don't know, whatever you have to do, just do something about it, man. And I'm sure you've heard this before. We're not reinventing the wheel here. And we're not trying to we're not trying to put you down or anything. This is just us. We're inspiring each other right now, and just this conversation, we wanted to inspire you to do something a little bit different tomorrow towards your goal. Eddie, I like to ask this question, and maybe it gets the wheels turning a little bit. In your mind, how do you make $100 million? What's like $100 million play for you? What are you thinking? What do you think about that?
I mean, definitely in real estate, you're able to do it. Obviously, I mean, you've seen a lot of people involved in real estate. But understanding how to scale business is definitely essential in order for you to understand that scaling a business is not easy. So I think just having the resources for scaling the business is definitely essential. And it could be labor, it could be money, it could be whatever. I mean, but just having those businesses aligned makes sense. And raising money, leveraging, I mean, that's the only way you're going to create more money.
Yeah.
A lot of people has the business reality. I mean, that, you're able to make a lot of money without money. I mean, you need something, to make money, right? Unfortunately, I mean, for some businesses, it doesn't work that way. Fortunately, for others, it does work that way, right? Some people don't need money to make money, and that's usually more in the sales. I mean, if you're a sales guy or you have a sales team, that you're able to, generate with the labor that you put in, you're able to take some kind of commission out, right? But if you're a business owner and you have to invest money to make money, it's a different approach, right? You need a lot of money to make that kind of goal, $100 million. For me, do I want $100 million? I'm not sure if I want it. Obviously, I do. I mean, would that make a difference, that kind of lifestyle I currently live? Maybe it will. I mean, but not radically. I mean, I think I'm very blessed to live the lifestyle I always wanted. I'm very, I mean, I'll definitely like $100 million, but I'm not, I mean, I'm kind of going after it. I mean, I'm not like
it's not like a chase or anything. Yeah.
Right. I mean, for me, I'm okay with the way I am. But I'll definitely, invest in real estate, which is pretty much like, I'll stick to it and scale as much as I can. And if that means getting 100 people instead of 30 or 200, it's just pretty much just bringing, those people aboard. And if that means having 100 rentals or 100 doors, whatever it takes. But
that's a good answer. Yeah, and the reason I asked that question is like I just like to hear how people think big, and the first thing you mentioned was scaling, having teams or systems in place. Teams and systems in place. So maybe you grow your real estate business, maybe you grow your a different business, but you have that same system and you attach different businesses. And before you know it, that whole ecosystem could be very valuable, which is something like a lot of these wealthy guys do, or even like hedge fund people. They take a specific system, they invest in things. So
ultimately, to answer your questions, and I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship itself, even though I love real estate, and I think it's my main business. But ultimately, what I really want is to have, other businesses related to real estate that kind of diversified a bit. Real estate being one, the technology business that I'm referring to as being the virtual assistants and all that. Being another, I'm involved in a technology business also. That would be another. So pretty much oversee maybe different businesses. Yeah, that would be ultimately my goal. And
your goal to get to
everybody's. All of them are profitable. I'm able to help a lot of people by employing them, which is very, very important for me.
Yes, it is, and that's the beauty about scale, is that there's a lot more people that are getting paychecks, and there's a lot more people that you're influencing, helping.
For sure.
Eddie, last question. We'll wrap this thing up. What would you? Let's say we're talking to the new person right now. Someone's listening to us. They're new. They haven't done a deal yet, or maybe they're just getting their first deal, second deal, third deal. What would you do nowadays, right now, 2020? Someone took away all your money, but you know what you know. How would you get a deal, as soon as possible if you had like $500 in your pocket?
I'll definitely go the free route of the MLS.
Okay.
Pretty much, if you're a realtor, I'm not sure if you are, but if you're a realtor, we have access to a system called MLS where you're able to just multiple listing services where you're able to find deals by free and pick up the phone, make offers, make calls. Or even, just take data. Just look for whoever's distressed and call them. The best and even the cheapest way is to make the calls yourself. So pick up the phone, call realtors, call sellers, and pretty much just pound it. It's a numbers game.
Yeah,
that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand the numbers. It takes a lot of, a number of dials, contacts in order to create that interesting party of selling, right? Or selling the property. So just pound the phones, guys. There's a lot of opportunity. I started that way. I started calling realtors. Putting stuff under contract with realtors. And back then it was a lot easier, but it worked a lot. And most of my inventory at that point came from the MLS. Foreclosures, asset management, those guys. So it's very important. But just the phone is just, it's free, and it's the best way, guys.
It's funny? I love that answer. Only only the Miami guys have said that as the answer.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, Rockwood, yourself, and me. And when asked, like, oh, what do we do to get a deal? Us three are the only ones that have said MLS. And I've
really?
quite a few people. A lot of people are like, the cold call, the do this, the do that, which are great, by the way. But I think the MLS is still like a good, amazing to just find deals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great
very low cost. Yeah.
I still do it, by the way. I still do it.
Yeah, no, it's the best. Yo, Eddie, I appreciate you coming on, bro. How can people reach out to you? How can people follow you? How can they learn more about your businesses? Or what if they want to learn more about like the virtual stuff? How
so
reach out to you guys?
You can contact me directly. My name, it's pretty much on the screen here, Eduardo Mualim. So if you go to Instagram, just search for Eduardo Mualim. You're able to find me there. Facebook, Eduardo Mualim, the same way. And my personal cell phone, I'm not sure if we're able to provide that through here. Raul, is that fine?
Yeah, if you want to.
All right, cool.
I can't imagine you're going to get too much, man. People be respectful of you.
So, all right, I'll give you my office number. I'll get my assistant involved here. So, yeah, you can call the office. It pretty much asks for me, but it's 76-565. 8726. But I'm usually, very reachable at the social platforms such as Instagram or Facebook. Just write me if you're interested in any services for the virtual assistants, agents, anything related to marketing. Or if you want to learn more about wholesaling, I know Raul knows a lot and he's very good at it as well. But whatever I'm able to help, I'm here to help and to share.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. Eduardo's got a ton of different skills. He knows how to outsource virtually. He knows how to run teams. He knows how to do fix and flip and a bunch of things. So definitely, if you're in Miami or anywhere in the world, and you connected with Eduardo, make sure to reach out to him on Instagram. I'm going to put your Instagram link on the show notes down here. Also put the phone number if you guys want to reach out to the office. And yeah, guys, connect with him. He's actually doing a ton of deals. He's a real dude, awesome guy. So, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a really fun, good conversation.
Taking your time to do this, and if you need anything else, by all means, just contact me. I'm here to help.
I love it.
Thank you,
guys. If you liked what you heard, and either you're listening to this on iTunes, you can watch the video on YouTube, or check us out on Spotify as well. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.